Hello YouTube. Today I just want to make a video going over the first build in hopefully many of a new series that I'm doing, and that is the Torchlight Infinite budget build series. So our first build here is an Erica 1 combo build that has reached that has a budget of 15 trillion DPS. Now it's actually an interesting one why I ended up with Erica 1. It's mostly just that it's pretty common to play combo skills on Rosa 2 and on Raine 2 and stuff. So I just want to showcase that, you can do combo builds on Erica 1. You don't have to do deck stacking on Erica 1. There's other ways to play this character. But with that being said, this is a build that you can do on pretty much any melee attacker, or just any character really, but this would work on Raine 2, this would work on Rosa 2, etc. With all that being said, let's go over the build and let's see what we have here. So I actually made a document of how I assembled the build, going through everything I did step by step and how I ended up with what I ended up. I ended up buying my Ghost Slaughters 3 times over, because I eventually ended up in wanting a Ghost Slaughter that only has 6% degen, and it heals me when I reach low health, because I really enjoyed just that extra feeling of sustain. I think the degen is the biggest one though. You don't really need this last line, but it is nice that if you do drop kind of low, that your Ghost Star will just instantly heal you back to full HP, but that's not really that important. Then I bought a Heart of Amnita. I bought one with the last line corroded. This is the most important line to have corroded. Nothing else is that important. Obviously, it is nice if you can get other things corroded as well, but this is by far the most important. I bought myself a Magma Skull Helm with the Affliction effect corroded. Now, I will say, so this is a roll range of 29 to 31. If, like me, you have a roll range of 29, you do need to get to 450% Affliction effect in order to cap this effect out. So let me go quickly and show you this. If you actually hit the target dummy, what you're gonna see at the bottom here is bonus ignite damage per affliction, 5.5%. If this says 5.5%, that means you have 450% affliction effect. That means it's capped out, and you're doing the maximum amount of damage. Then I bought Duo Kismet Peerless, very good Kismet to buy. This was price fixed, so they were 187 FE per, but generally speaking, they should be much cheaper. Right now, they're down to 120 already, but I just spent the extra money, whatever. You absolutely do need this. This +1 combo finisher charge is really good, because essentially it means that your finisher on your combo happens an extra time. It's the exact same thing that your neck does, as Heart of Amnita does, +1 combo finisher charges. This makes it that when you generate your combo and you get to the finisher, you do 3 finishers in a row, which is very powerful. Then I bought a Dawnbreak and made a Vorax Dawnbreak. Now you're gonna see that this is a ring Vorax, and in the final build, we actually don't have a ring. We have boots. I did realize after making this Vorax that it's probably you're better off just making this into a ring. You're probably better off making this in shoes. I do think there is value in having it be a ring, especially if you can get this advanced mod on the ring. +1 common points gained from common swords. If you can get this on a Vorax ring, that is probably the best of both worlds. I didn't want to spend infinite FE trying to get that mod, so I ended up actually just recrafting this entire thing. Here's all the costs involved in crafting and stuff, and how much we spent and blah. I decided, normally what I do with this series is when I do make big mistakes, I'll just rewind it, as in I'll just completely throw away the items and give myself the FE back if it's some massive blunder, because part of making a build and learning about new things is you make mistakes. And this is about me giving you a finished product that works, less so than it is about me getting it right the first time. That being said, I did decide to just remake the Vorax shoes on my other character, because genuinely, if we're being realistic, this ring sold for more, 2k FE more than what I made it for. So I actually made a lot of profit on this ring, and I just didn't want to sell it and then use that FE to make a new one, because at that point I feel it muddied the water where it's I'm doing profit crafting and stuff, and that's kind of a bit iffy for me. So I was nah, let's just not do that. Then we bought some memories. I accidentally bought an extra memory, so this one's completely not necessary. Because I realized for Cat Knight Safari, if you actually want to revival your memory, you do need it to be a red one. So our hero memories is this memory of origin with damage % crit rating. I went with damage % because I just didn't need the affliction effect, which is something I realized afterwards. So this one I bought here is with affliction effect, but we actually don't end up using this because we bought a new one that we ended up using instead. And then I just rolled for crit damage. This combo, like critical strike damage for combo finishes. This is not a good mod by any means. You're way better off with like a different mod. I just didn't want to keep clicking infinitely because it's kind of expensive to click. Then I bought this one with crit rating and affliction effect, and we rolled it for crit rating and first crit damage. I bought this Cat Knight Safari memory here with affliction effect and crit rating, and then I rolled for attack crit rating and first crit damage. Pretty standard stuff, nothing too special, nothing too unique. And also, we did get kind of lucky, so we did hit Cat Knight Safari on the first click. But even if we didn't, it's literally like, what, 130, 122, so it's like 250 plus another 70 or so. You know, it's like 350 FE per click. It's really not that bad. It's kind of cheap to try and get Cat Knight Safari. I will say though, Cat Knight Safari is not that insane. Now that I've played with it and stuff and I've done the math on it, it's like, it's okay. It takes really long to build up the hunting instinct from Cat Knight Safari. Like this gains hunting instinct and having 5 stacks of interest. This takes really long to build up. And also, the actual thing is like not 100% uptime. And then in terms of a more multiplier, it's only like fucking 45% more damage or something. I do think something else, like an artificial moon, might even be better than this and just having a 4-0 memory. But that's up to you. And then, yeah, we spent a lot of scraps and stuff. I did have some threads and scraps on my main character that I just sent over to do the clicking with. Now you might say like, oh, what, isn't that like cheating? Is that like inflating the budget? Yes it is. But we also only spent 13k FE. So I added like 2k extra FE for just like the random miss stuff that I gave for my main. Because I just didn't see any point in purchasing it if I already own it. And I did give myself like a 2k FE buffer to compensate. Then the next thing we did is we bought this Unmatched Valor. So I found this Unmatched Valor that had 4x2 legendary medium talents within the area. Also give blah 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 multi-strikes to 12% increasing damage. Which I think that's pretty decent. It's multi-strike's a weird one. Just go watch my multi-strike video. But with this 4x2 shape, which is a very awkward shape, we are able to hit 3 legendary nodes. So I went ahead and did exactly that. And I bought these Prism Gauge legendaries. I clicked it myself, hoping to hit something good. We didn't hit something good. We did actually gain a stack of Fortitude when using a melee skill. And you can own one additional stack of Fortitude. This is pretty nice. I mean, Fortitude is a very nice defense layer. This is, 10% DR. We don't have Tenacity Blessings in the build. You could also fit in Tenacity Blessings as well for like more DR. But both Fortitude and Tenacity Blessings you can just get as like a slate mod. We didn't do that because, when you have such a low budget and your goal is to hit for 15 trillion, you kind of need to sacrifice some tankiness for defense. But we aren't full glass cannon. You'll see that in a bit. This build is very much capable of like taking some hits. Then I bought myself a Pedigree of the Gods. I bought Quick Advancement and True Flame. I'm gonna talk about this. Listen up. Listen up. I swear to God, if you don't fucking listen up, if someone comes to me and says like, oh, your budget build is so expensive now, the Pedigree is 10,000 FE. Listen carefully right now, okay? I don't want any of your fucking dumb bullshit, okay? The only mod you need is any mod that you see here. So Blade, you need Join Forces, Centralize, or True Flame. Whichever one you buy on your Pedigree, whichever one you buy between Join Forces, True Flame, and Centralize, you'll then put the Prism on that tree, okay? So if I have a Centralized Pedigree, I'm going to go into my Ronin tree, and I'm going to find a spot to put my Prism in the Ronin tree, okay? Same thing with Blade Runner. And then Quick Advancement. I did the math on this. This is like a 30% more damage multiplier for my build. Okay? Do you know what that means? You can just buy any main talent that gives you 25% or more damage. You can even buy a defense one. You can buy Poised Relief. Poised Relief is fucking overpowered. Get yourself some defense with injury buffer. That might even like be better than what I did here, to be honest with you. Okay? Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. There are literally a dozen different combos you can do here, okay? You can buy anyone that has Joint Forces, True Flame, or Centralize, or even Affliction on it with any other fucking mod. It doesn't matter what the mod is. If it gives you damage or it gives you defense, it's a good mod. Okay? I will not repeat myself. Don't be stupid. Or I'll be disappointed in you. You don't want me disappointed now, do you? Alright, and then here's the secret to budget builds. This is why I kept saying... Oh, thank you for the song. This is why I kept saying that budget builds are so fucking easy, and like I could literally do SS20 in like 3 days of game time by just doing a ZHP no-hit budget build. This right here is the secret sauce. For 2.5k FE, I bought this sword that is fully pre-crafted, full T0, except for the ultimate mods. I bought the shield base for 2k FE. You can literally buy like almost full T0 items for 2 to 3k FE. It is absurdly broken. This is insanely good value for money. And if I were to continue with this build and push it further to like SS21, 30 trillion, making it more tanky, stuff like that, I would literally just buy myself pre-crafted, like every single item here in priceless. And now you might be wondering about defense stuff. Don't worry, we have a section at the end of the video going over exactly how to scale this build further and what to do further. I will talk about that, but first let me go through the entire setup. Cool, so here we go, all my embers, blah 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 blah. I ended up buying all of these items. I bought this belt base for 150 FE with only affliction on it, and then fully crafted it myself. The reason we want affliction is actually it's very potent for Magma Skull. This additional affliction effect does not count for the downside of Magma Skull. Because Magma Skull is downside, -6 affliction per second for every 10% affliction effect. And it gives us 3 affliction per second. Now, I did mention already for Magma Skull, if you have a min roll, you need to get to 5.5 ignite damage for it to be capped out, right? Like, you were here for that. So I mentioned that this needs to be 5.5%. Another important thing is this mod right here, affliction per second. This cannot be negative. This needs to be a positive number, okay? This has to be positive. Sorry, I just had to swap in the bossing skill. Just so people can see we're rating actually for 15 trillion. Because you use a different skill for mapping and for bossing. Anyway. That being said, I bought the chest and the boots, both fully pre-crafted. And then I just changed some things here and there on them. And I bought some base mods. I wasn't quite happy with these swords. So this one had attack gear crit rating and this one had armor pen. I did buy base mods and I went for gear attack speed. And additional damage critical strike. Not a big deal. It's really like minor differences. It's just so cheap to buy the base mod, so I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. The main reason was just this gear crit rating. We were already like crit capped, so we just didn't need the extra crit. Alright. I did buy a Kismet Mercury in the bottle, and I did not refund this FE, by the way. This FE, things you see me scratch out, if I scratch it out, that means I didn't refund it. In other words, like, I spent the FE, and I didn't sell the item, I didn't refund it, I just still have it, and I'm not using it. The reason for that is, I just CBA, refunding everything, like, who cares? You make some mistakes, you lose 1,000 FE here, 1,000 FE there, shit happens. It's just the game. So I minus 300 FE on this Mercury bottle, I'm not actually using it in the build. If you look at the build, you'll see that we're using Pale Fox and Aesthetic. I don't think Aesthetic is good. I don't think this is worth using at all. I would actually change this for something else in hindsight. But, you know, it was 50 FE, who cares? And Pale Fox is pretty good. What the fuck? This got price fixed. Oh. You don't need Pale Fox. You don't need Pale Fox, you don't need Aesthetic. You can do other stuff. You really don't need either of these, I promise you. Something you can do instead that might be really, really smart to invest into is actually... Genuinely, I think instead of Pale Fox and stuff, I would just do Mammoth. Mammoth is very fucking good. Because Resurrection Warcry level 20, not only does it give you Dior, it also gives you a lot of healing. So yeah, I think instead of Pale Fox, especially with the current prices, just consider doing Mammoth times 2. Then we bought another King's Judgment. So I specifically bought one with regen 6% life. And the reason for that is, if you look at my Ghost Soldiers, I consume 6% of my current life. So if I regen 6% of my life and I consume 6% of my life, it's break even. Very simple logic, I know. Insane. And then I saw one that had chance of multi-strike on it, which it was a bit expensive for 400 because the base is like only 70 FE. But I really do like multi-strike, so I just went ahead and bought that. And then we slammed it twice with God of War Remnants. So only should be buying 4, but I did buy 10 of these in total. I just didn't want to have like 5 different screenshots of the exact same purchase. I don't know why I did a 4 stack. I should have done a 1 stack so you can see like how much it was, but it was like 400 FE or something in total, like a bit under. I slammed it twice and we had 1% movement speed per 10 favor. Nice. And 10% chance to restore life, blah blah blah, when blocking. Not nice. Unfortunate. Then I also bought myself a Prairie. I think Prairies are really very OP. They're only 1000 FE right now. When I bought them, they were 1100 yesterday, but they've been like rapidly going down in price. And I will give a tip: buy Immolating Flames. This card is called Immolating Flame. It is cheaper to do 20 of these cards and turn it in than it is to buy Prairie. Then we did Slates. Slates were a bit of a mess. We bought way too many Slates. You'll see that I have a bunch of extra spare Slates here that I'm not using, because I kept playing around with things and just messing around with it. So my first slate that I bought was this God of War slate for fervor, with fervor effect and chance to multi-strike. And the reason I bought that is because obviously fervor and multi-strike is just 2 really good mods. These have gone up in price, but you don't need like the exact same one I do. So yeah, I bought these. They've already gone up in price because people are just like flipping the build, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I bought these with fervor and multi-strike. You can really take any 2 good mods on these. My only tip is, when you're looking for these, is don't take one that has additional damage while having fervor or fizz level. Those 2 mods you don't want to take. And the reason for that is what we did is we bought Divinity Pact God of Wars, and they were 60 FE each. Let's see if that is still 60 FE each. Okay, there's 70 FE now. And if you have Divinity Pact God of War, it is a 1 in 2 to slam either fervor effect. Sorry, not fervor effect. To slam either +1 level or to slam additional damage, physical damage while having fervor. As you can see, there's only 4 mods in the pool, and 2 of them are really good for a build. And my suggestion is to buy a God of War slate that has 2 good mods on it from any of the other trees, and then just going for the 1 and 2 and then the 1 and 3 slam to try and get +1 fizz level and additional damage while having fervor. We fortunately got it on our first try. We hit the 1 and 2, and then we lost the 1 and 3, and we hit the 1 and 2 again. Not the worst slate at all to slam at all. Rachel. If you only have 1 mod, the most important thing about this is you want your bottom mod to either be fizz levels or additional fizz damage while having fervor. That is by far the most important thing about this. Then I bought myself a corner with multi-strike chance and fizz level. The reason we went for multi-strike chance is you do have some breakpoints you want to reach on Erica 1. This is Erica 1 specific. On Raine 2 and Rosa 2 and stuff like that, you don't actually have to bother with doing any of this. Okay, let's just do that. But if you play Erica 1, you do want to have a multi-strike chance of 300% as your breakpoint. The reason you do 300% is because you have +3 initial multi-strike count, and you have 1 max multi-strike count. So the way this ends up working is, it's just the math. If people actually want to know, like, if people actually want to see the math behind it, I can showcase it to you, but 300% is the breakpoint you want to go for. Going from 300 to 400% is just not worth it. And then yeah, I just went multi-strike chance, first level. Then we bought a bunch of Starlight. So this Starlight we never used. This Starlight we never used. And what I'm going to tell you about these Starlights and stuff is what you want is the best mods to have at the bottom is this crit damage per fervor. You want at least 1 of these. This is very, very, very efficient, especially if it's getting copied by your Prairie. And this affliction inflicted per second minus all res, this is also very damage efficient. The reason for that is our build currently has no Ellie pen, and it has no it has mid crit damage. It doesn't have that much crit damage, and we don't have any Ellie pen. So any Ellie pen we get is very efficient, and also this affliction inflicted per second is pretty nice because it offsets the helmet downside, which we do need to offset. And then this crit damage per fervor is pretty efficient. Don't get a fervor bottom. Fervor bottom is the worst multiplier. Fervor effect is like not very good at all to copy. And multi-strike deals increasing damage is an okay mod. I think getting it to like 20% and stuff, it's pretty efficient, but it does lose efficiency the more and more you get. I think where I'm right now in my build of 20% is fine. I would get like in the range of like 150 to 250% probably. You don't need to get like exactly that much, but it is worth it to get to like 150 at least, especially with how many multi-strikes we have. So yeah, this one, really good. Ended up buying it for 666. Very expensive. Trying to buy a 2-mod crit damage for bottom is so fucking expensive. You can buy just a 1-mod one, but I mean, if you're gonna like spend an extra on your build, the places you want to spend that extra is your hero memories, it is your slates. These are all very fucking important. You get so much value out of slates and hero memories in this game. Don't be a Scrooge McDuck on them. I saw a ton of options for like less than 1000 FE with this crit damage per fervor mod at the bottom. This one was also really good, and this was really cheap, 99 FE with Affliction bottom. And then this one right here, this I use for bossing. This is my 3rd slate, but I ended up actually not using it. So this we don't really use, but you can technically use it for bossing if you want it for like an extra damage mod. But what I instead bought was this slate. I don't know where I screenshotted it. I don't think I did actually. Let me find it quickly. Is this slate. Oh, actually, I know where I screenshotted it, but I'm just gonna put it at the bottom here, because it's on a different page. This line right here, so the affliction figure per second is not really important. This can be any mod at all. Like, this is not really relevant. You can even just not have this. But the main mod here is this restore 3% life on defeat. And the reason I say you don't need the affliction factor per second is if you actually look at my build, my infliction factor per second is 4. Actually, no, we do need this mod. My infliction factor per second is 4, so we do need that mod. I'm lying to you. But yeah, we need the infliction per second. That's why I got this one. Obviously, you can also get Mercury in a bottle, which is what we did up here. This gives you 80 affliction factor per second, but I ended up not needing it in my setup. But this restore 3% life on defeat is amazing for mapping. I have some life regain nodes in this build on the tree. You can pretty much drop all life regain with this node. I still have the life regain. I don't need it, but you know, whatever. I don't feel like changing the build. Then, as for my ability skill, I'm using Ground Shaker, using this Ground Shaker Raffle Vault. It's really nice, actually. I actually really highly recommend using it. It's slightly faster than Leap Attack. Like, very slightly faster than Leap Attack. And it covers a lot more distance than, like, Spiral Strike and things does. It just feels good. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I just think it feels really good. You can instead just use Leap Attack. Leap Attack's only very slightly slower. Where's my mouse? Leap Attack's only very slightly shorter, but I'm a big fan of this. And then we are using Spectral Slash. Now, for mapping, you can actually use Gale Slash, and I'm gonna be doing some testing with Gale Slash in a bit. I kind of forgot that this was supposed to be a Gale Slash build, but I was having so much fun with Spectral Slash that I just got carried away, but you can, for mapping, use Gale Slash instead. But if you do Spectral Slash, here's the TLDR. The purple support, this support right here, Spectral Slash Detonation, is pretty much a mapping-only support. I mean, you can use it on bossing. If you have this on a T0 roll, like if you have this like a max roll T0 and you have it leveled up to 5, this is more damage than Steamroll. But if you're like me and you have it level 1, you don't have it leveled up, stuff like that, then you're better off just using Steamroll. And this support's effect, what it does is simply for mapping. It doesn't do anything on bossing, but the support itself is so potent and powerful that you can literally just use it for bossing, because at level 5, on like a T1 or T0 roll, it is just the highest damage like support skill in the game for Spectral Slash. And then for your 5th slot support, you have a choice between Legion and Synchrony. Synchrony is like the bossing one. It has way more boss damage. The two of these do very similar damage. Just straight up. The damage difference between these two is very minimal. They do very, very similar damage. The red one does do more single target damage, but the green one has like better AoE and clear. So like you can literally just go one of these and just always use it. Or if you want it to be like optimal and stuff, you know, you can swap like, oh, this is for bossing, this is for mapping, whatever. But it generally doesn't really matter. Both options are just fine to do. They're very similar in damage. Okay, and then we bought some precise auras. We got Weapon Amp and Charge Flames. And then for both of these, we did actually go ahead and buy Precise Concentrated because we're only using 2 auras. And we went and bought ore amplification level 20. I will say, every single thing you see here, I did buy. I literally like spent like 10F a year, 30F a year, 50F a year, buying every single support tier level 20. Because I didn't feel like leveling them myself. So that's like another 500 to 1000 FE down the drain in my budget. Just because I was too lazy to like level the supports myself. The only skill I didn't do this on is like Ground Shaker, and you can see like all of my Ground Shaker supports, so level 17. Just from me like testing out mapping and whatnot. So yeah, when I say 15k FE budget, I'm pretty confident that you can actually do this within 15k FE, like pretty easily. With just this setup right here, using Spectral Slash, my 2 auras, Scorch, and my mobility skill, I was already at 15 trillion damage. Which means for your 2 last slots, like you can go Delayed Pain plus Frost Shield, for example, and just go full defense. Or what I ended up doing is I actually went Bull's Rage and Delayed Pain. And then I did buy Microfate Strengths to fill out my Kismet slots. So I just put Strength Kismets on like every slot. And again, all of this is being done using, you know, level 6 survival pets that do no damage at all. So like if I were to equip attack pets, I would probably reach like 30 trillion already. Which given my gear level, 30 trillion is absolutely disgusting in my mind. Like this is just so disgusting. But, you know, that's considered balance in this game, I guess. This game has very strange balancing. I don't know what else to say about that. So, Mia, I recreated your build and I did SS20. But once you do kill SS20 and you want to push this build further, what do you do? What are the upgrades you can do? How do I scale offense? How do I scale defense? How do I blah 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 blah? For defense, I think there's 2 really good options that you can go for. The first option is you can consider going into Warcries. So, you know how I said Mammoth? I was like, oh yeah, Mammoth is like a really good idea. What Mammoth does is it gives you Warcry, triggered Warcry level 20 Resurrection Warcry. This is the bread and butter of Warcries. Instead of using Bull's Rage and Delayed Pain, what you would do is you would spec into Warcries, you would go Resurrection Warcry, and you would go Shockwave Warcry. And I think I've made a video before on how Warcries work, but the TLDR is this line here, damage for each enemy affected, second up to 8 times. You need to scale min affected Warcry. So you need to get like this mod, plus 4 to minimum number of enemies affected by Warcry. You need to get this mod in the Brave tree, and you also need to get it on a slate. And that's going to put you at 8 min Warcries, so you always get the max effect. You can also then consider speccing into Formless, because if you spec into Formless, you can go up to 16 stacks of the Warcry. And what do you do with 16 stacks? Well, very simple. The first thing is you get Warcry effect, which means that instead of this being 5.35%, or I think at level 20 it's like 6%, you know, you're going to have 90% Warcry effect, and all of a sudden this is over 10% per stack. And then on top of that, you're going to get up to 16 stacks, and this is going to be almost like 3 extra damage. This literally is scaled up with Warcry effect, it's almost 3 extra damage. And then Resurrection Warcry has this line, minus 2% additional damage taken for each enemy affected. This stacks up to minus 60% additional damage taken. If you go into Warcries, this Warcry here is going to be like 2.5 extra damage, which is crazy. That's a lot of damage. And this Warcry is going to give you 60% damage reduction. Now, one thing I'm not sure about with Warcries is I do think you might have to drop the second sword then and go into a shield, because if you have a shield, you can get the Warcry effect on the shield. And the reason I didn't end up doing Warcries is because of that. My goal was to push damage, right? On the lowest budget possible to push damage. I think in hindsight, now that I know how the build played out, I think if I did things again, I would have done a shield as my offhand, and I would have gone Warcries. Because I think on the same budget, or a very similar budget, we would still be damage capped, and we would be way tankier with Warcries. Because we are like over damage cap. We have too much damage. You know, we made a bit too crazy mode. And we still have a lot of budget left that we just haven't spent yet from the 15k. Like, we haven't even spent the full 15k yet. We're only at 14k spent right now. So yeah, I definitely think you could have done a shield with Warcries. That's my biggest piece of advice for what I would personally do if I were to redo things. But hey, I'm not perfect. I didn't get it right the first time. It happens. You can upgrade your gear to Priceless. So this is a big one. You can upgrade your gear to Priceless, and one big piece to look out for. So obviously, Priceless rings are insanely powerful. A Priceless belt is quite powerful. One big piece of gear you can really look out for is the chest piece. Because right now we have 0 erosion res in this build. You can buy yourself a chest piece that has erosion convert on it. Let's see. Erosion. So you can buy chest piece with base affix, erosion damage taken as fire. Holy shit, these went up in price. Okay, they're quite expensive, I'm not gonna lie. But you can buy one of these and then get one with convert with like T0, convert erosion damage taken to fire. And combining these two mods, you are immune to erosion damage. So that is one option you have in terms of like fixing erosion res and defense, as well as obviously speccing into block. I do think, sorry, not block, into WARCRY. I think it's going to be super worth it. But then on top of all of that, you also have, to get more damage, you can level up your canvas supports. This is a very, very cheap upgrade. The canvas supports are very cheap to level on this build. You can get your, Spectral Slash, both of these, to level 5 and use a T0 roll. You can get better everything. Red hero memories. You can get a prism that doesn't replace your main talent. Because if my prism didn't replace my main talent, then my pedigree could have, instead of True Flame, I could have a different mod on my pedigree. Which is then like, and that extra mod could be Poisoned Relief, for example, for more defense. Or it can be more damage. I could go more damage, I can go Poisoned Relief, get Injury Buffer, additional damage taken low life, There's a lot of really powerful like pedigree mods you can get, both defense and offensively. My swords and corners don't have by far the best mods on them. You can optimize them a slight bit, but it's not like a big deal. I just went for like options that are fairly cheap and available. You can use attack pets. Any attack pets at all. Genuinely, if I were to equip 3 attack pets right now in this build, I would have 30 trillion, and I could go do SS21. This build literally has enough damage to go do SS21 already. I could use Azure Gunslinger. I could use Azure Gunslinger, Red Umbrella, and probably Fog Scorpion. I'm actually not sure what I would do for my last attack pet. I mean, Fog Scorpion is really good for bossing specifically. I mean, it's also kind of nice for mapping. But yeah, you can just use Gunslinger, Red Umbrella, and then some other attack pet. Maybe Fog Scorpion. WARCRY pet? Oh yeah, if you're doing WARCRYs, you do want to use Captain Kitty. Captain Kitty is really good for WARCRYs, if you end up going that path. Because not only... Captain Kitty is really good. The only levels that matter for this pet is level 1 and level 6. Nothing else matters. If your pet's on level 6, it might as well be level 1. So don't worry about leveling this pet up. Take this from someone that has it at level 1 only. And obviously, just don't Kismet over the WARCRY effect. We love WARCRY effect. And then obviously, the other obvious option is you can consider going block. I do think block actually makes a lot of sense in this build. Like, a lot of sense in this build. Because realistically, Dawnbreak, if you actually look at what this is doing, my Dawnbreak is giving you Fervor, which you can get this. Like, you have other ways of getting half Fervor in your build. You don't need it to be through Dawnbreak. Like, you could, for example, one of these 2 links could be Focus Slash. Focus Slash, literally, as like a second link, will give you Fervor. So you could have Focus Slash with like the 3rd support on it. Let's see, which one is that? Wait, do you even need the Fervor support on this thing? I don't even think Focus Slash needs the Fervor support. I think it just baseline gives you Fervor. Weapon attack on hit and gaining Fervor, yeah. So you can have like Focus Slash to give you Fervor, for example, instead of using a Empower skill. And then you can also just go... You could get more of the crit damage per Fervor rating mod. Like, get more of these. Maybe get like 1 extra Fervor roll. And then instead of strength on your rings and shit, you would get block on your rings. Instead of strength on your belt, you would get block on your belt. And you would get block on your Euro memories. And you can get 100% block like that. Then you just need a source of block ratio, which, if you looked at my build, my Sage build, is very easy to do. Because you can actually get 80% block ratio of just a Silent Avowal, chest. So this chest right here gives me 20% block ratio. And then Silent Avowal. And then for the last 10% block ratio, you get yourself a slate that has this one. 5% block ratio, so 1% of missing life when you block. You get this, And if you have a judgment, this will put you at 79% block ratio. If you do want the exact 80%, you can also go into your pack spread page and just get like micro fate block ratio. I think either going into like the block ratio setup or going into the WARCRY setup is what I would have done in hindsight now that I've played the build. But I will say from a budget standpoint, I do think the WARCRY setup would have given me 15 trillion damage while still being within the budget, and I would have been way tankier. Let's look at the final FE total. So we gave ourselves 2 stacks of 9999 FE. Now there was some incidents where we made mistakes that we didn't, you know, that cost us probably like 1000 FE plus, but you know, it's fine. So if you minus 5743, raw FE spend would then be 14.2 thousand FE. If you're trying to recreate this build, I think doing it in under 15,000 FE is very realistic, especially now that you have my format to copy. But just give yourself some buffer window. You know, not maybe some of the prices will go up, maybe you'll make some mistakes, you know, we're all human. I definitely think 15 to 20k FE, like this build reaches 50. I think 15k FE, this build always reaches 15 trillion DPS. And if you equip attack pets and you're not just using triple ultra, I think this build is 30 trillion. Very, very easily. And also, if you want to play this build on Rosa 2, if you want to play it on Raine 2, any of those characters, the biggest thing to do is just drop all the multi-strike. Drop all the multi-strike, and instead of multi-strike, you just want to invest more into like crit damage and fervor and stuff like that. You basically want to do what you're already doing in this setup, like Affliction Effect, fervor, all those things. You just don't now need the multi-strike stuff anymore, which I do think is actually a positive for this build. I do think fitting in multi-strike is kind of annoying. I think not needing multi-strike would be a positive because it does allow you to then more easily spec into like war cries and block and stuff like that. You know, it just gives you a bit more leeway. Yeah, also skill level, stuff like that, because we're like, what, level 32? Hello, this is Editor Mio. Just wanted to go over some stuff that I didn't cover in the video. These are my talent trees that I'm using: God of Might, Brave, Warlord, and Ronin. In God of Might, we go +1 attack level, additional damage if you used a Warcry recently, and spare points just go into Strength. And we go Momentum, Tenacity for Tenacity Blessings, and Judgment for Paralyze. If you're using Red Umbrella, you can instead use Hidden Mastery or Great Strength, both are good options. In the Brave, we do Formless. You can also do Static for more damage. Formless is just more defense. And we do +4 to Min Warcry and 8% additional damage when holding one-handed weapon. In the Warlord tree, we would go True Flame if we didn't have Unmatched Valor. And the Warlord tree is the ideal tree to put your Prism in if you can choose, because the Warlord tree has this cluster of legendary talents. And if you have like a 3x3, you could put it here, for example, in the middle, and have it hit 4 legendary medium talents. Obviously, in my case, I didn't have that, so I'm only hitting 3 legendary medium talents. But obviously, you have to play around what your pedigree has. If you don't have a True Flame on your pedigree, or you don't have like the doesn't replace your main talent, then you will just have to find a spot to put it in some other tree. So, like for example, in Brave, if you were to put it here and it's a 3x3, you could then take this point and have it be like 3 points. The Ronin tree, we only go here for Centralize. This tree doesn't really do much for us. We do go with the Fervor Effect here, which all of this Fervor Effect is additional damage, and it's pretty efficient. These points are very, very efficient to take. And we also got this multi-strike chance. And we just put 24 points in this tree for Centralize, and then we dip from the tree. On top of that, we also have our Year trait. We do go for Have Fun for the level 10 multi-strike. We go Cat's Vision for the Stalker stacks. And then we go Cat's Punches to turn those Stalker stacks into initial multi-strike count. Then lastly, for crafting the weapon, you do need gear attack speed and attack crit rating for gear. These are very important modes to have. Combo damage is a must-have. This prefix can be, this ultimate mod can be anything. It can be attack skill levels, Elite Pen or Armor Pen, it doesn't really matter. Gear Fizz is the best mod here, and Fizz damage to gear is the best mod here. You can also consider melee damage, but Gear Fizz is better. For the weapon, you can either go max life, or you can go damage percent. Both are very efficient and worth it. For the ultimate mod, any of these are fine to do. And then for the advanced mod, you do want strength. It is the best one. Warcry effect is a must-have, combo damage is a must-have, and then you can either go regen, or you can go erosion res, but if you do have erosion convert, then I do think the regen is super worth it. Obviously, you can, you know, you can mess around with it. Yo, editor Mia here. I don't want to re-record the whole video of me going through the build and like everything we did in it. So I did do some changes with the build. I wasn't quite satisfied with the state of the build. So I did change some things about it to swap to the WARCRY setup, and we managed to do SS20 pretty easily, I would say. So the things we changed is we did get a shield. I bought the shield base for 2k FE, which is less than what we bought it's less than what we bought the, what do you call it for? This is less than what we spent on the sword, the price of sword. And then I just had to finish crafting it a bit. So I went ahead and just got life, strength, erosion res. I do think instead of erosion res, life regen is better. And I would suggest people get life regen instead. And then on top of that, I went ahead and got the WARCRY setup running. So I went God of Might. Additional damage for when you use a WARCRY, attack skill level. Plus 4 min WARCRY. Additional attack damage from holding one-handed weapon. Formless for WARCRY to double the max WARCRY skill effects. I don't think this is worth it. Genuinely, I don't know. I think static is just better. If you want damage, I think static is just better. We're not quite at 15 trillion right now. I did just 1-star SS20. I was hitting for zeros, but my uptime was really bad. I was playing it super safe. I don't... yeah, we should probably play static. I think with static, we are like omega damage capped, let me see. Okay, we first need to build up our hunting instincts, because we're Erica. Let's see, are we omega damage capped? Oh, I see a lot of zeros now. 0, 0. 0. Yeah, I think probably you should play static instead of formless. But it's like up to you. You want to get plus 4 min enemies affected by WARCRYs. You want to get this mod from the Brave. And then you also want to get yourself a slate with it, which gives us plus 7 to min WARCRYs. And I bought this for 666 FE. There are a bunch of options you could buy. You don't need to buy one for 666 FE. It's just the one I went for. And altogether, that just made me way tankier. I did try Kismet Lion, but I kind of needed damage, so I went back to static. And then with my base mods, what I did is I just rolled this for crit on the sequence. But overall, like, these changes to the build are practically the same investment. Slightly cheaper to do this than what I was doing with the double weapon. It is slightly at a damage loss, of course. But it does come with the benefit of... It does come with the benefit of you being significantly tankier. You know, I'm tanky enough right now that if I go into SS20, I am able to tank 2 hits in a row. Like, I wasn't able to tank a single hit before. Now... okay. It's because we weren't multi-striking yet, so it didn't activate these. But yeah, now I am tanky enough to tank 2 hits in a row. I don't really like the multi-strike medium that much for this, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am using multi-strike medium, which means that, you know, I need to get max multi-strike to actually activate these. But once we do have them activated, they do have 100% uptime. And we can kind of just, you know, AFK the autos and stuff. And then for the rest of the fight, obviously, you do have to play it out normally. But, you know, it feels pretty tanky. It feels nice. It feels a lot better than what I was feeling before. So overall, my suggestion for people would be to just go straight into the WARCRY effect. Because, you know, getting damage is easy, getting defense is not as easy. If you wanted to get more damage, then I would just level the Spectre / support, or I would buy Price's Care. Those are the main things. Also, I think this Ghost Altar, this line at the bottom, is not needed anymore at all. Because you actually get a lot of healing from Resurrection WARCRY. Because this is healing you for, what is it? 1,000 life. And also, if you get on your shield, instead of erosion res, if you go for life regen, you know, you have actually, like, pretty damn decent sustain. Which I think makes it feel really nice. And then maybe, instead of doing activation medium multi-strike, I think doing a preparation is probably going to feel better. Because I'm pretty sure you can get the duration long enough that it lasts for 4 seconds, and then preparation just, like, you know, goes off every 4 seconds and just keeps you at 100% uptime. But I haven't looked into it exactly, so I don't know exact numbers and rolls you need on this. All I know from mine is doing this setup right now, I need a T0 multi-strike roll, level 20 CDR, level 20 acceleration, and level 21 concentration warcry. And with all of those, if you look up here at my warcries, I'm just barely able to maintain 100% uptime. So it is quite tight. Also, of course, this is all Ultra Pets. You are going to be running, ideally if you can, Captain Kitty. Captain Kitty is going to be a big defense increase and offense increase. It's going to give you a 10% Warcry effect, which is quite potent. It's going to give you base Warcry, and it even has Warcry CDR, which this Warcry CDR should be enough to have 100% uptime of preparation, with an extended duration preparation, and has Warcry skill factoration. Like, the Captain Kitty is a really good pet for Warcries. It is very, very powerful. For mapping, the mapping setup is still going to look the same. I use the double concentration Warcry setup just for bossing, so that we can kill SS20. But for mapping, I'm not a Spiral Strike enjoyer. I think Spiral Strike feels shit. So we're gonna go back to Ground Shaker. And honestly, we can also use Recklessness in this build. Hey YouTube. This is post-editing Meow, just doing a quick map showcase with the Warcry setup. I do want to warn you, we don't have 100% uptime on Warcries right now in this current setup. If you were to use like Firewing or the Kitty Pet, that would give you actually skill area that does give you 100% uptime with Warcries. But because of the challenge restraints of, you know, no pets, we actually don't, we just barely, if you look at up here, don't have 100% uptime on our Warcries. It's not a massive deal. The way to fix it is to just either... What the fuck? Oh my god. The way to fix it is to like unlock the 4th slot on the Warcries, and then equip Concentration Warcry, and Concentration Warcry plus Extended Duration plus Corner Reduction plus Multi-Strike would give you 100% uptime. Or if you add like any pet at all equipped, that would give you 100% uptime. So like if you were to use like Firewing, for example, Firewing gives you 20% skill effect duration, that will give you 100% uptime. Or if you had the Kitty Pet equipped, this actually gives you CDR and duration, which will give you 100% uptime. Obviously, we don't have that. I'm not gonna equip legendary pets. It's just not the challenge or like the build. The whole point about this is having 15 trillion without needing that. But I just want to do a quick mapping showcase and just let you know about that. It's not really a big issue. I mean, it is basically 100% uptime. Like, it is very close. And this build is really tanky. I mean, we can like tank a lot of hits from like SS20. I did do SS20 on this, which will also showcase in this video. But obviously most people don't really care about how it looks on SS20, they want the map. And I've honestly been having a ton of fun just playing with this build. I've generally had to like intentionally kill myself to reset my XP, because I was reaching level 91 over and over again. Because I've just been mapping like non-stop and just having a good time, because I actually genuinely do enjoy the setup. I do wish we had a bit more attack speed. The build's not fully perfectly set up right now. One thing I did make a change from the build code is I bought this persistent skill chance of multi-strike, because we weren't actually at 300% multi-strike for the breakpoint. After I like, went out of Goddess of Hunting and Blade Runner. So I swapped that around, which isn't like reflecting the build code. I don't think one slate swap needs to, I need to make an updated build code for that. That can just be like a secret between me and the people that watch the video. But yeah, I've really just been having a lot of fun with the build. I don't know if Clockwork is really the best mechanic to showcase it, because, Clockwork is a hard mechanic, but it is literally also just a mechanic where if you have damage cap, you're kind of just waiting for like the enemies to become targetable. But this is like the mapping experience. It's super chill, super easy. And yeah, this is with Shockwave Warcry and Resurrection Warcry. I'm not sure. I mean, for damage, static is better. For defense, Formless is very slightly better, but You kind of need an inverse to get this +4 minimum, like, copied over. And obviously an inverse is just outside the budget of this build. But that was a quick mapping showcase. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, you two. I should T0 these mods, but I don't care. Oh, I did a lot last now. I don't think I could take 2 autos in a row before. And now I'm regaining, which is nice. Did I miss anything? War cries are over fucking powered. We didn't lose that much damage swapping to war cries, and we're way tankier. Like way tankier. It's very noticeable. Ow. The only problem is we don't have 100% uptime on the war cries. We have like 95% uptime. Which isn't that big of a deal, but it does kind of suck. Ah! Holy shit, we tanked that! How did I tank that? Holy shit, I tanked that. Teaser activation medium? No. I didn't think about that. I guess. I guess you're right. Wait, how much is 24%? I bet 24% is like super cheap. 160. Okay. Oh my god, it's looping, it's looping. Look, it's looping. Oh my god, it's looping. This is why Yazuki is the GOAT. For real. Where's the boss? Ow. Ah! Almost got myself killed. Good bomb timing. Ow. Bro, I don't like this fight. Ah! Ah! I am not panicking at all. I am not panicking at all. Not one bit. I am not panicking. Everything is fine. Everything is just awesome. Why did I take the bomb back? Whew! Scary.
Nowhere to hide.
Help! I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Everything's fine. Everything is just fine. Oh, hello, Bomb. Where did you come from? Oh, hello, Bomb. Please fucking off. Thank you. See? Everything is just awesome. Wait, how are we so behind on time? We have to upgrade our canvas supports. I think we might have to upgrade the canvas supports. I think the damage is there, but the uptime isn't. Which is a problem. Yeah, definitely have some issues of uptime. Oh, she's gonna do here if you'll think now. Here, feel, think. Um. I don't know how this fight works. Wait, can I call? Yippee! Yippee! Okay.